Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. What's up, bro?
I'm okay, man. How's it?
I'm fine. The jam master.
Ndandachibata chinenge chinyowa kwandiri but ndichachitsvaga tapedza panapa. I just launched a new album, so I'll look for that.
Yeah, that's good. So what's up?
Ndrukumba.
Kumba de ubi.
Kumba. Ndogara ku York.
Oh, New York.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. You might tell I'm excuse your situation on the ground.
It's not dependent nekuti chii chinenge chichitaura kuti hatisi but what exactly do you mean when you say we don't know the situation on the ground?
So tell me about it.
No, what situation are we talking about? Can you give me a brief and then this is your thing, I don't want to run with it. What is it that we are talking about on the ground?
Like right now, the whole country is on fire with this hashtag that Zim Lives Matter. Yes, and you as somebody who is out of the country, how do you interpret Zim Lives Matter? How do you interpret that?
No, to be honest, I only feel like it's this is an attempt by Zimbabwean people to protest and to speak out peacefully, using the tools that are at their disposal. And what is at their disposal right now is social media, and so that's why they're speaking on social media, right? And I'm talking about social media because people, from my understanding, and when I speak for myself as well, people are hurt. People have so much that they want to say and so much that they want to do, but they don't know how to do that. So Zimbabwean Lives Matter is an aggregation of all those voices, right? It's a place where all these voices come together, where people start speaking to say, you know what? I'm going to die. You know, but no, as a country, let's change course. It would have been better for us to follow this course, which is why a lot of the people who are speaking in that movement are not political people, which is why a lot of the people who are speaking are even trying to remove politics from all this and not make it about political parties, but be about making it about citizens and citizens speaking and citizens having a voice. So that is how I understand it. Now, when it becomes an issue of citizens speaking and citizens giving their voice, it doesn't matter where you're speaking from, right? As long as you're speaking about the issue at hand and you're speaking from your heart. That's my thinking.
Because you see, what happens is that you guys out of the country, social media, you should go and claim, let's say, like on my estate, somebody is estate. You guys are posting to it shows a tangible figure. And then you guys, the pressure that you put on the people. So it appears as if
I think when you speak like that, I think when you speak like that, you are running the risk of a generalization, and whenever you generalize issues, it's not right, right? I have never said to anyone go on the streets. I've never said that. I have never said that anyone is passive. I have never called anyone a coward. If you follow my Twitter very well, I've actually said I have great respect for anybody who's not even on the streets, but speaking out from Zimbabwe, because I know the cost of speaking out like that. If you follow me very well, if you interact with me on Twitter, you will see that there's a day that I made that post. And I made that post after seeing things, right? After seeing pictures, horrific pictures, you know, horrifying, terrible things happening to people. And I was asking myself, Kuti, how much kind of, it takes a lot of bravery for someone to keep on speaking, you know, after seeing other people being brutalized like that. So I've never been in a place where I've called anyone passive or anyone a coward or anyone, or even told people what to do. I have only contributed from my space and what I can do, because for me, it is hard to just imagine all of that happening in Ndakangonyarara because I'm in Zimbabwe. But also, I think another thing that is very important when you discuss this issue, right? It's important to understand there are two types of Zimbabweans or maybe three Zimbabweans in the diaspora. There are Zimbabweans in the diaspora who are not permanently in the diaspora. So when you understand that we're not monolithic, pane vanhu vakauya kudiaspora manje havana kuzvarirwa kuno, kune vakazvarirwa kuno vatova established citizens here, right? Kozoita vasingatochadi kunzwa nezveZimbabwe, vasingachadi kudzokera zvachose. Kune vekuti pamagrupu andataura, kune vachangouya vakaita sesu, right? At some point, you can't tell me that this is distant. This is something I've not experienced. I've experienced this my whole life. Ndakazvarwa muZimbabwe, ndikakurira muZimbabwe. The only time I've not been in Zimbabwe in my 31 years of existence, 3 years in China and 1 year in the UK. So out of the 31 years of my life, I've been in Zimbabwe for 27 years. 27 groups. And now, can you tell me that there is anything? Chinyowan shut down negative Zimbabwe. January. I was there, I experienced it. I was there, I've experienced this, living under the perpetual fear, and I'm still speaking as much as I'm speaking now. Because I've taken it not as an activist role, but a citizen duty. Ibasa rangu se citizen ya Zimbabwe, kuti ndive involved mnezviri kuitika muZimbabwe, even if it means I have to pay a cost for it.
Yeah, that's true. That's very, very true. That's very, very
now, it doesn't mean I'm not aware or I'm not alive to the risk that it means. But I mean, if you know me, if you have known me for a long time, you will know even in Zimbabwe, you don't go down.
Anyway, so now that you've said it, you outlined that there are three types of people or Zimbabweans in the diaspora. What role do you contribute? How can you guys contribute to the struggle?
It's not about how can we contribute. It's about how are we contributing and how can we keep on doing that. I'll give you a very important case study, right, of the Zimbabwe before, because I think when Zimbabwe and why I'm saying this is because this is very important for people to remember. It's a fact I just remembered just now. But remember, it was shut down in Zimbabwe, internet igavaro.
Yeah, I remember that time.
Who was telling the world what was happening in Zimbabwe? It VPN.
It was the diaspora communities.
It was definitely Zimbabweans in the diaspora. So even if they don't want to come back, but if they have that sense of duty and patriotism to say, Zimbabwe, it affects me because it affects my kith and kin, then it's important because a day will come when you need those people. So right now you can say, Yarara, you're not on the ground because I'm saying my internet munani. But musamuna varwa internet ndopamema kutenderedza message tinokumbira hama dzedu dziri kudiaspora dzudze vanhu vekunze uko kuti ndozviri kuitika muno. So everyone is important. It doesn't matter how people contribute. And I think another thing is saying while we're trying to build the country, because remember at the end of the day, and I think this is what is more important, everyone is not trying to fight someone. What everyone is trying to do is to build the country so that the country works for everyone.
Exactly.
I think the idea that must be changed, the narrative that must be changed is to push a narrative from the citizens. We don't care about fighting people. What we care is about Zimbabwe working again and working for everyone and highlighting the things that are not working and saying, no, my comrades, so the response of the government to make it seem as if they're declaring war on the people is wrong, because these people are not in war. These people are simply saying, I think I become Maria COVID. That's what simply saying. People are saying, 7 out of 9 avanga feka. You can't have a mortality rate of 7 out of 9. This is what people simply say. People are not even saying personal ningi. People are not saying this. People are just simply saying, my comrades, ladies and gentlemen, if you ask me right now, I still have a Zimbabwean passport and Dina passport of name and I'm only a citizen in Zimbabwe. So by right, I only have one country. And it doesn't matter when out of the country, when I feel whatever I feel, Panonzi nationality paper and not Zimbabwe. So can Zimbabwe it is, for example, Munando Zimbabwe, I take anything per Adobe. I cannot do that because I am Zimbabwean, even if I'm in the UK. If the financial service that is not extended to Zimbabwean people in the world, I am not afforded that, even if I'm in the UK. So what is happening is, I think the people that lead us must understand this, that people are not fighting them. People are saying, no, let's redirect course. Let's make the country work together. In any case, everyone is building. And it's important to understand, if people are doing this, it means the passion for building the country is so powerful that people are willing. Because uchiona mapicture evanhu vari kubuda vakarohwa vamwe vasina kupfeka vamwe vachiti ndakadamburirwa hembe, all of these stories, whether you think they're true or not, but kana uri munhu anofunga ka ana yangu ekutorova nezvatiri kuita izvizvi ana yangu ekutorova because ndozati ndichingosvika paairport paya panogona kungonzi iwe chimboya paside up. I'm not stupid. I know that this can happen. But if I get like Reska, I am speaking because I am saying no. Ngativake nyika. Ende tikaramba takanyarara tikakusiyai kuchita zvamuri kuita izvi, muri kufunga kuti hatisi kuzviona, ende muri kufunga kuti hatisati tarwadziwa chaizvo. Vanhu vari kurwadziwa sha. Vanhu vari kurwadziwa. Even vamwe vacho vamuri kutaura vari kudiaspora, usafunga kuti munhu anofara kunzwa kuti mai vake vafa ende akwanisa kukazoriga mai vake. Zvinongoitika kuZimbabwe izvozvo nedzimwe nyika dziri pahondo, isati isi pahondo. Zvinoitika, and okay, let me not try and cast aspersions, but imagine how it feels. Ukati unogara kunze kweZimbabwe ukati hauchadi kudzoka kuZimbabwe, wawana citizenship yako une life yako yawatanga. Mai vako vofa. You can't even come and have closure yekuviga mai vako because hauzivi kuti ukadzoka uchadzokera here. Uri kutotya kuti uchisvika unogona kutosvikawo uchitongopindawo muquarantine. I mean, zviri kuitika kunyika dzese, but health system yekunyika ikoko ukasvika ucharwara pamwe utoroone kamwana kako kadiki kama-American kana kam-Canadian kauri kufunga kuti handei tinochema mbuya, wosvika nako korwara kunokofa nekuti hanzi hapana doctor. Because hapana unoona maproblem anaitika munyika medu ndekuti zvinhu zvatauraya ka zvinhu zvisingafaniri kuita option. Alright, macomrade, kana muchipa ka ibai asi mameka shoti kurwara ka is not a death sentence. Ibai mahospital achishanda. Because munhu aplane kurwara uri kunzwa inini handiplane kuti ndikasimuka panapa ndikauya chabata covid muroad ndosvika muZimbabwe then ndoenda kuhospital kusina doctor ndofa. Ndongangori nenyaya yevanhu kuti munhu paanoita conceive oita nhumba nditika haasi kuplana kuenda kuhospital achisvika kusina doctor odeliver mwana ari still there. So when you understand these things, you understand that at the heart of the issue is it's not basa politics. It's not basa but the bar has been set so low. My hospital varume kana maita amurikuita nemadiamonds akamba madiamonds anipaka vakataura vega mukuru wenyika kati hadzi 15 billion hameno tichi chakaitika. It's all right, makaita ikoko, but pazvaitika remember zvakaitika around 2013 before GNU, panguva yeGNU before my 2013 ndo pakataurwa namugambe kuti 13 billion one missing, right? 15 billion one missing. When you think about that, because paGNU zvaishanda zvinhu zvaishanda, people just loved and made jokes about it. But ukaona vanhu vakubuda vakuti aiwa tirovei hedu, iwewe nyange uriwo uri kutonga unofanira umbomira umbofunga chii chingatumba munhu kuti achiona vamwe vachisungwa so, because vanhu vakawedzera kutaura patosungwa vanhu patosungwa vanhu vadoko vakawedzera kutaura. So iwewe unofanira kungozvibvunzawo kana uchitonga jera harityise here, masoja haatyise here aya. vanhu vari kurova vanhu havatyise because unoona vanhu vangoramba vachitaura vachangotaura izvezvi ndiri kuona vana people younger than me, young people in Zimbabwe havasi kumbotaura vakawanda kana nemaghost account. Ndiri kuona maaccounts ane mazita evanhu andoziva ini kuti uyu nefesi yake vachingoti aiwa mana taneta munhu ari kutaura ndosvika 30 years ndichigara mumba maamai ndichengetwa naamai nekuti basa harisi kuwanika. Vamwe vanhu vachitaura kuti shamwari inini handisi kugona kuchengeta mwana wangu ndotofila kunge ndiri baba vatadza kuita baba nekuti basa harisi kuwanika. Munhu akadaro kaasa kunyararidza. So ndonyaya ingoripo iyoyo yekuti at the end of the day vari kutonga vanofanira kungoziva kuti nyaya iripo ndekuti hapana kurwisa kutonga kwavo. Ukatarisa a fraction of Zimbabweans interested in politics nyika ichitofaya chaizvo ka and unotarisa kuti we have one of the lowest voting rates. So imagine kuti nyika ichifaya, how low would it even go? Dai nyika inga ichifaya zvinhu zvichibhadhara ka no one would care, vaitosiyiwa ka potoito. Enotarisa nyika dzakaita sana Rwanda shamara. Rwanda ndimi munongona unotanga kutaura dhete yepo Kagame azondai, but vanhu vake havana problem naye majority yenyika. That's a perfect democracy, but when you have the majority not caring about who is in power, it's a sign that things are going in the right direction. Because point yekuti zvakuaffecta munhu wese ka people then want to know but akambogara kumusoro kundiya iwe waikwanisa kuita naupenyu hwako iwowo kuti unomuka unoenda kuchikoro, wapedza chikoro unowana basa, wabva kubasa mari yako kapinda unoenda kubank wobudisa mari yako paATM wotenga zvauri kuda kana nechibhebhi chako woenda on a date kana wadecide kuti wakuda kuroora uona kaapartment kako ne. You may not be interested in politics.
You want to be interested.
Kuti vanhu vachitanga kuti but no man ndiani kwari kumbotonga kumusoro izvi hapana chiri kushanda. Unosenga mangwana omuka munhu achitaura kuti aiwa hakuchisina mari inonzi RTGS, hakuchisina mari inonzi RTGS. Wotanga futi kuti aiwa chazochinja, hakuchisina maRTGS, kwava nemadhola, kwava nemaZimbabwean dollar yautonayo RTGS yatova dhola iyoyo. Unyatsonzwisisa kuti vanhu vapunyikidzwa zvokuti havachaziva zvokuita. Vanhu vemuZimbabwe they are too intelligent yokuti dai nyika yaishanda vaigona kuzviranira nyika ka vanoba vachiba vari kumusoro.
Yes.
Vanoda zvepolitics.
That's true. I just loved how you illustrated what the average Zimbabwean wants. We are not in a war with anybody. We are just asking for the basic things that we should have access to. Because that I've seen, right? It's not good.
Ukaona masvika panzvimbo yekuti munhu anotengesera muviri wake huku chicken imi uri kuseka but ireality iyoyo yekuti ende uwandu hwekuitika kwazvo ka zvinoitika kune dzimwe nyika zvandikutaura chero kuno zvinoitika kune madhiragi anozokanganisikawo mupenyu but ndikutaura munhu akakwana anobhadharwa $1 kana $2 kuti urare naye. Mubvunzo wangu ndewekuti hazvirwadze here kutungamirira nyika yakadaro? Kana ndichitungamirira ndikanzi namuka ndiri president, ndinoda kuva president wenyika yekuti vanhu vayo vakaendawo pane vanhu vedzimwe nyika vanofamba musoro remudenga. Kana wati hausi kuda kubva hazvina basa, regera vanoda kukuita kurwa hondo dzemapolitics varwisane newe, but chigadzira kuti vanhu vako ka havaite hondo yekuti munhu anoita 2 years asina passport. Takundikana zvekudaro zvekukundikana zvekutadza kutora mapepa tomapeta so tomabhainda tomasona tomaisa pachinhu chimwe chehardcover chegreen toisa mafingerprints evanhu. Takundikana zvekudaro. Taba kusvika pakuti
hello.
Yes, ndiripo. Izvozvo ndozvo zvekuti kungoona chiremba nyangone mari kwakunetsa zvinodaro izvozvo woti vanhu vari kunetsa vana woti hanzi vanhu vari kutumwa ndiani anotuma munhu kutaura kuti handina kudya
hapana
ndiani anotuma munhu kudaro
hapana zvokutaura izvi guys let me tell you an incident by the way. A few days ago I was driving on the one side. Ndakasvika paroadblock just before my road. Ndakadamira ndakasvika akati ndikuona ndokuona mukangondisira jola mukuru munenge I don't expect what I wasn't because you didn't ask anything. I don't know what to but if I'm saying I'm not get a straight
but chiona kamanje zvauri kubudisa apa ka uri kubudisa imwe nyaya yakakosha ipapo yekuti havazi mapurisa chete ari kukumbira dollar every day. Ukaenda paTwitter ndo pandoendotarazve paTwitter kuti ndo panonyotambira kuinbox kwangu inini kuri kuuya vanhu vari kukumbira kubatsirwa handisi kana jinimbi handisi kana chii ndingoriwo Glen ndikakudza nhamba dzevanhu vari kuashisha mari chikafu kana kuti inri right but ndokumbira kuti tibatsire vanhu nekumba kwedu kwanisa kuita fundraising here kwanisa kuita zvakati here wozotarisa vanhu vari kunyora patimeline pachena kuti amana inini hangu ndiri chiremba asi nhasi birthday remwana wangu ndatadza kumutegera kana keke pozoitawo vamwe vanhu vari kunze kwenyika unozoti doctor tipei nhamba dzenyu tikutengere mwana something. Ndinozvibvunza mubvunzo uyu ka ndiri ndega kuti pandaikura hapana chinhu chaidadisa sekunzwa kuti ndodaita doctor chiti kabvunza what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be a doctor. I want to be a doctor. And all of our brightest minds were channeled towards that. So what you are talking about vemupurisa nokukumbira dollar hazvina kana kumbosiyana anonzwa sei nyangwe iye azopiwa nevanhu chiremba uyu kuti pane munhu wari kuNew Zealand amutumira mari yekeke rekumwana wake ochitora keke riyara oendesa mwana obati mwanangu uya happy birthday vomuimbira ari kufara here nazvo mumwoyo make munhu uyoyo ane chekumukira here ane chekuraramira here state of that person's soul vanhu vari kungofamba nemweya yakafa, you know, like to be honest you're dead to the situation because if you are a doctor, you are the prime now mupurisa uri kukumbira dollar. So even our professionals munyika vakukumbira we've come to a point where mari yaunotambira ina chainotenga saka munhu wese ari kupema, everyone ari kupema. So that's true. It's not just mupurisa here. Everyone is asking for something from someone. Those are not kufuza dai ndini na tonga dai ngodo nyika ngotika munobe ima million nema billion enyu kumsoro kuka but munhu ngangwana salary ngocho anokwanisa kuenda kubasa odya nemuri yake vana vasikukumbira kumuka wa mamillionaire vana vari kukumbira kurarama inokwana kurarama inokwana kuchengeta vana vavo inokwana ngochiona mukomana kechidikika even handitombotazve kutenga extra vamwe vanhu vezera rako iwe havatenge extra kune dzimwe nyika and anotarisa paTwitter magirls with Mac zvari kuita girls who drive Mac. Those people they're not very much intelligent than us, they're not far much better than us. Takafanana navo zimbotitwa pamberi pavo takatodzidza vapfuura but munhu ane masters muZimbabwe munhu ane degree reaccounting muZimbabwe haakwanisi kutenga mota. Unoziva kuti mwana kuSouth Africa mwana ari kuSouth Africa akawana basa achipedza chikoro achipedza degree rake anotongobva ipapo akatonanga kuMercedes Benz straight otongoti ndakushanda kubenki andikutaura andisara opiwa nefinance kutenga mota yake vari kutenga mota nevasikana vere
but now pane nyaya brought up an issue yemaprofessionals kuti vari kuenda navo mabasa because there's no incentive effort yavanhu.
No. Wait, the incentive is misplaced. If we're talking of an incentive, we have paid you. Then we are now incentivizing performance. You can't speak of an incentive without a living wage. Do you understand what I'm talking about? Because as an employer, I need to make sure to know bus. In the first thing that the employer in Zimbabwe, they want to say bus can't 3,000. Because ukura money, urukwira kombi uchakubasa, urukwira zuko, drive a motor mafuta ukuba. Talk honestly. Mario ukiwana ukura masay. So if I was a business owner and I'm not paying anyone in US dollars or in forex, I would close and shut down because either pane gap or kundimira naro and siri kunzwisisa kana kuti ameno urikuwa uzoitei.
My employers actually now ask to zone.
Kana wewe employee yako ichi yakubasa ichidira fuel. Wozoenda unomona ari pa LinkedIn kana pa Facebook data re 1.5 kuma 3,000 re month anenge ari kana 2 gig yekuti kana munhu abva kubasa ane stress akuda kuona Game of Thrones kana ada kuona movie inopera ne one stream. But munhu ye every day unenge uchimuti ndoda kuona mi employee group rekubasa pa WhatsApp uchitomona tori online. Of course. So anyway, my point was, let's not even talk about incentive. Let's first talk about a decent living wage for our people that restores the respect and dignity. Apana mnanoda ukumbira man. Kana kuna vanhu vane paita painga pana pavanhu vakadzidza. Vanhu vakatodzidza vanenge vasingatodi ukaona munhu akadzidza akaenda kuchikora atopa basa anenge kutofunga ndaponda nhamo but ukaona munhu iye akusvika papoint ekukumbira. What are you doing to the spirit of that person?
Just breaking it off.
What are you doing to the spirit of that person? So let's just bring the conversation to the basics for now. For now, let's get the country working. Let's have policies. I
Exactly. That I was about to ask. I was about to ask you, as a policy analyst, what do you think? What is your advice to the people in power? How would you advise them?
First of all, we have to have the intention to make the country work. You know, we have to have a governing ideology. Governance in the most side hustles. Side hustle is but as in terms of policy, I think before we even get to the actual targeted policies and targeted problems, we have to think about the framework where these policies will be implemented. So that is your institutions, that is your rule of law, that is your democracy, and that is your ideology as a government in terms of where are you going. So without rule of law, when the rule of law has degenerated, that means Kuti, that social contracts that, for example, the police has with the people, because so we need that rule of law to be intact and to not be tampered with, to be respected as sacrosanct. So pakasunga munhu vanhu havafani kusvika papoint yekuti uyu munhu ari kupersecutwa. Mutemo unofanira kungozikanwa ukaona mapurisa atosunga munhu ane mhosva. Hazvisi izvo zvinoitika kune dzimwe nyika dzese. Kune dzimwe nyika dzese ukanzwa vanhu vachinzi vasungwa kune nyika where things are functioning like this political or policy framework I'm talking about. When someone gets arrested, people are actually waiting for the police to read out the charge sheet. But no, politics, because we have allowed our politics to conflate or to be entangled with things that it should not be entangled with. So politics should not run police. The police should police the politicians. The police should police the politicians because they have that power vested in them by the Constitution. So when politics runs police, right, the police service, what happens when the politicians turn on the people? The judiciary should not be biased. The judiciary should not, and its credibility should not be questioned. So the citizens should be able to, either through other political parties or through civil society, or even Nini as an individual can take the state to court. Like what Jelas Mawari did to invoke the election 2018, Jelas Mawari versus Robert Mugabe and the government. constitution inoti tofana ita election every 5 years GNU yenyu yakufana kupera, then the court ruled and then election rekanzi ngariitwe. The president was directed by the judiciary. In a normal working society, in a normal working country, that should be the case all the time, and not only when it suits the government. So people should feel like kana tanetsana nehurumende yedu atiende kuma streets tunoenda ku court. So izvozvo zvaishanda tisanga tomboenda ku court munaenda kumapurisa ini ndarohwa nemunhu webato rakati. Ini ndarohwa naningi mapurisa opindira nyaya zvisinei nemapolitical parties ngati ndo Zimbabwe yatinongoda iyoyo. When you have those presidents vatopera vanoda kukwikwidza zvepolitics vachikwikwidza. But remember mune ma-institutions aya anokwanisa kuisa everything in check and anoprovide a recourse yekuti iwewe kana wabatirirwa unoziva kwekuenda. Kana employer wako iwewe atadza kubhadhara unoziva kwekuenda, ma-labor laws aripo, ma-labor courts aripo. Political issues can be settled by the courts without any bias or fear of favor. So when you have that, then the next thing is you have then created an environment where things are stable. Because what Zimbabwe needs right now, stable. Forget bringing in investment. For now, stabilize. Can we at least stabilize things? 5 years past so pana kunetsana kwevanhu atina kuchinja currency atina zomboti get where policies do not change. Tungoda period kungoita stability across the board, politically, socially, economically. That is the to be a favorite president of all time in Zimbabwe is not hard. It's the easiest thing to do right now. Is stop everything, guys. Politics ngatiite stable. Mapurisa ngamire kurova vanhu. Mapurisa pari kuita enforce the law ngavaite vasiri heavy handed. Economy ngatimbonyatsogara pasi ngatiplan kana zvichira tikutora 2-3 months tikuita sei toda kuita sei. Kana tiri kutaura nyaya yeforex tichahandla sei, the allocation of forex ichahandlwa sei, monetary policy ichafamba sei. The Minister of Finance, fiscal policy. This should be something that should be going on for the next 5 years. Of course, there may be unforeseen circumstances, right? Those are what, let's call the people, some people, consult the people. What do you think about these things? Kanatati tukumanyane austerity for prosperity. Toto manyana for 5 years. All we need is to be stable for now. Stable. No, hey guys, Zimbabwe is open for business. Our people are in harmony. Hapana anopwanya shop yemumwe, hapana ukabirwa unaenda kumapurisa, macourts edu vanhu matrasta, politics zedu dedze pamaballot. Unaona simple. It's not even hard. It's not even hard.
And
that's what I'm saying. So these are the things we need to change. To be honest, we're not expecting a president that would tip a GDP growth of 10% per year. No, we are saying freeze everything, stop it. Graph rate rango then. Tikangokwanisa mbodaro so wekuti munhu anogona kuti ndiruda imba ye 30,000. Imba ndiruda 30,000 US dollars. In 5 years times 12, that's 60 months. In 60 months, they can save, that's how much? $500 per month. Imba you get 30,000 and get paid over that. Where a government company can plan a short, medium, long-term strategy and say, gore rino tichaita zvakati, tichainvesta mari panopera gore maybe nobody break even. But in second, third year, tinenge takuita profit, takuexpand. All we need is to stabilize the country. Simple as that. We're not asking for miracles. We're not asking for growth. We're not asking for help.
It's not that simple to those guys, man.
What exactly do they want?
Because it's simple when you talk about it. It's not simple. They themselves want to take off from who wants to that is the problem.
So, but you've asked me, if as a policy analyst, what advice would I give? So obviously, I'm giving advice, and the idea of it being acceptable, palatable, or feasible to these people is beyond me. But I'm speaking of what I would be able to do.
That's true. Hello? Hello? Audio yako yatiza kapha. Glen? Hello? Hello? What's up? Chichi kuitika. Ashayika mkomano wayi. Audio yake ndangoisha yawe. I guess the network is a bit acting up. It's acting up. Let me see what I can do. Abud. Anyway, Mamunzwa mkobana achitaura. You know, he was Chido. CIO. Yeah, angashtaura. I mean, it's very true, angashtaura. It's very true. Kugavena nyika akuna umbooma. Akuna kana umbooma. I don't know why these people are failing. I don't know. But I know mpunze zikunyatsa kakosha manje. Alright, hands are back. I'm back. He's back. Let me see if Tito mpinza here. That's okay.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you. Sorry, I think someone was trying to call me and then disrupt our network.
Alright.
Yeah. So I was listening to you, Wichita, before. I was just simply saying that what we don't understand is why zviri kunetsa, because pavanhu vari pana batiri 7 pana vanhu 7 vari kuona nenewo tiri 2 tikanyatsobvunzana pakawanda uchibvunzwa naMwari zvako vanhu vasingafe vakaziva ukabvunzwa kuti vanga vari willing kusapota Mnangagwa 2017 pakabva Mugabe vangani. I will not hide from you guys. I'll be honest, what we just want is the country to move. I would have done that. So this is what I'm saying. They had a chance. They squandered it. But they can't keep on going down that path, you know. They should come back and say, how do we make sure that zvinhu zvakadai hazviitike zvakare?
Actually, I'm going to ask you a question, a very blunt question. Do you think ZANU-PF can turn things around?
Can what?
Can turn the country around?
If they wanted to, they could. If there's a genuine political will, they could. But the honest truth is, it looks like they are not interested in that. I don't know. But for me, I feel like sometimes we're not shooting my own goal. You know, like for example, was it necessary kusunga hopo? Zvanga zviri necessary.
Yeah, to them, I think it was.
It's really necessary.
I honestly, I don't think it is.
I feel like sometimes, maybe but sometimes I feel like they shoot themselves in the foot. They make stupid decisions, very stupid decisions. That's why I was saying, if I was the one running the country, I would know that Hope will work for BBC. I would know that Hope will work for intelligence. They should have known these things that we are saying. International community chatoziya because corruption and achasungwa. Now, so when you then go and arrest munhu wakadaro, expect kuzvitangira wega chimoto, and then when chimoto chaitika utanga kuti hanzi pane vanhu vari kubhadharwa nenyika dzekunze. Was it necessary kusungafadza here? Was it necessary? So when you ask me this question, was it necessary kusunga munhu aposta pa WhatsApp group? Asingazvizive kuti the majority of young people are not happy with what's going on in the country. Saka ungasungire munhu tatara asingazvizive kuti kana munhu asina basa haasi kufara ndiani. Asingazvizive kuti kana munhu ane nhama haasi kufara ndiani. It's not news. Nyangwe vanhu vakasataura kana vakataura vanhu havasi kufara. So when you arrest a young girl, for example, for posting on a WhatsApp status, whatever she posted. For me, it's stupidity. Because vanhu vakangwara dai ndiri insha ndinombopiswa paTwitter papa vanhu vachitsvaga zvanoda kutaura nokuramba ndakanyarara, because I know the more I entertain this, the more it becomes an issue. So I just keep quiet. And I've learned to do that. I don't have a problem. My life goes on. Now, at an individual level, I've mastered that emotional intelligence. Which no one can zero anymore. No one say that. Say government. Your words. You want to go to Munango to Zanu PF Zakati.
Insecurity. I understand what you're saying.
Unopinda politics usina thick skin. What else are Tonganyika? What else are Tonganyika? And what are over Sungon Matauri?
Actually, then there's this issue. There's another issue that I want to ask your opinion. Like the government recently announced planning to compensate white farmers. They set aside a couple of billion. What's your take on that? What do you think this means?
The country that has a couple of $1 billion, they don't have that money.
What do you think that is going to imply for the future of the country?
So when they made that decision, it was after a consultation or a conference that they did, right? So let me try and explain what I think is happening here from my understanding. I haven't really read on the issue, but I'm just applying my mind to it. So definitely what has happened is that our government is trying so much to be re-engaged by the international community. Because you understand, under Mugabe, one of the biggest problems for Zimbabwe in terms of accessing finance, credit finance from international financial institutions, and foreign direct investment in the country from other places besides China and the former communist bloc. Land reform. Now, if you ask me about the merits of the land reform, on a different day we can have that discussion. I think the land reform was necessary. I think redistributive justice is necessary. I think we already paid the price as a country. We've been sanctioned, or ZANU-PF has been sanctioned, or whatever has happened, but it's 20 years later, you know? So as a government, which Emerson Mnangagwa was part of, and everyone else in ZANU-PF right now, they decided to stick to saying no. Down the road, we were punished by the international community for the haphazard way in which ZANU-PF did that. That's a story for another day in terms of how we implement policies. But I want to say this on record. I agree with the land reform program. It had to be done. I don't agree with how it was done. So now when you fast forward to today, before this happened, when Mnangagwa got power in 2017, when he got back in power, there were rumors and speculations that former white farmers were supporting Mnangagwa, former commercial farmers. Let's take, of course it's a racial issue, but let's take race out of it. And there were rumors that they were a part of his governing coalition, right? And there were rumors that he was willing to give back land to the former owners who had dispossessed the natives. Now, it could have been a program that has been in action already at his politically on the ground, but I think the idea that we then got to the point of having that conference that then us agreed to pay back money. And they say that they're going to pay back not money for the land, but money for the improvements that were made on the land. Intellectually, for me, that is a bankrupt argument, because you made those improvements using the proceeds from the land. Capitalism 101, the 4 factors of production are what? Land, capital, labor, technology. So they had the land to get the proceeds out of it and then to buy the machineries that they bought. So in any given way, that argument doesn't make sense. This was an argument that was put on the table to sanitize the fact that there is a reversal in the thinking in government. The reversal in the thinking in government is to say, we no longer believe that expropriation of land without compensation was okay. And when you go back in history, at the Lancaster House Conference of 1980, 79-80, one of the key factors of that conference was to say land will be acquired on a willing buyer, willing seller basis, financed by the British government. Right. So originally, right from the beginning, my comrades angavuma pakapera chimurenga kuti patichatora minda tichabhadhara for minda iyi. But Ariata ibe kwatiri ichabva kuita chi British government. Now vakaramba vakanyarara for a long time until about 1999, when MDC became a very serious force in politics. And for the first time ever, ZANU-PF de facto one-party state was challenged. Then ZANU-PF realized, oh, vakomana vangu mayane nyaya land. Apa mawo vets ari kutaiwa but my comrades takarwira on land Taiwan.
Okay, just a minute. It's indeed that when the new government there was a change in the ruling party, right? And the party akapinda new one. That's when they said, we're not going to honor the agreement and that's my issue.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, the agreement was made with is it the Labour government? Anna Thatcher. So anyway, so obviously the politics in Britain is as well. Ruling party because we're not chinjana, just like America is. So language you go to ruling party, it's maybe the governing party of the time because they take turns. But again, yes, you are right that they wrote a letter saying we cannot be forced to honor this payment because it wasn't made with us, the agreement. But again, there were ways to go about this. When you understand international law, they could have taken the agreement to international tribunals or even continued to diplomatically talk with these people to say, this agreement was not made in a mundo. These people made the agreement on behalf of the country. So in international law, it is very right to insist on the government. Smith, part of our national debt is acquired from Maria Katorana Smith to fight the comrades. But we have to pay that. It's part of our national debt up until now. And we cannot. So one of the arguments that people have been saying is we should repudiate that debt and call it odious debt. We can't ask taxpayers to pay for it. So yes, Britain said that. But there were avenues, there were channels. The only reason why we went on the FLTRP fast track land reform program is because politically and ZANU-PF had to move. That's why they then have allocated land haphazardly. But I think Mugabe was an intelligent man. He knew the effects of that, but he also wanted to keep power. So by designing the political engineering, they should have gone through all these processes of looking at, all right, how do we do this? The same way they were doing before. But at a time, from 1980 to 2000, why were we not asking for the British government to fund that? Why were we not dealing with the issue? Because it wasn't an emergency issue for them. And this is another thing we need to change in our country. We only deal with things when they become an emergency. There is no proper national planning that is implemented. So again, my first one. But anyway, what I was saying is, that's 3.5 billion they want. Personally, I feel it shouldn't be paid. If they want to pay it, they should come up with a different and new argument, because the argument that we are paying for the improvement made of the land, with what how did you make Marie pull out of thin air, or you produced something on the land and then also using capital and labor that was annexed? You took Wangwarima natives. I mean, this is a whole historical issue that cannot be dealt with the way they dealt with it. This is again what I was telling you, that we have so many issues to deal with as a country, and we can't be putting a band-aid solutions. It doesn't work. So our government has to really have a governing ideology that says, guys, nika iyi turi tonga ma principles api. ideology yatiri kufamba nayo ndeipi. Nyika dzese dzaunoenda panyika ukabvunza kune macapitalist countries, kune social democratic countries, kune masocialist countries, all of these things. Isusu tinongotenderera tikambotamba nechina yotodza kuti zvakati toita tombotamba totevedzera tombotora, hatina chedu chatinofamba nacho. And because of that, that's why we have policy inconsistencies. Nasi tati zvakati, mangwana tati zvakati. So for me, I feel that agreement, let's not even get into Mariacho Wachaiwanepi, because according to that conference, we have a way of social. And if it's going to people are saying you can't get that from taxpayers' money. Because in the first place, for me, I would want to really, I mean, of course, I've been busy with my dissertation lately. I haven't really gone through the whole issues that surround that. So I may not be the best person to comment on that. But all I'm saying is I am not happy with the redistributive justice should not have happened, because what they are signaling and what they're also signaling to other countries is maybe we're not supposed to deal with the issues of redistributive justice. Agarama issues are not a peace, but you don't campaign to president can also deal with the hard things that you should deal with as a president or as a government. So as a government getting in power, you should always think, what are our position? And the same should happen for the MDC, right? And the opposition. They have to have a thinking around all these things. We have to start thinking and planning ahead. In the event that the president, what is my position on healthcare? What is my position on those that have and those that do not have? So kana munhu asingaende kubasa muZimbabwe in terms of how do they access healthcare? Topical issues are not voterwa dzimwe nyika. Kana muchara Obamacare, you're looking at how much is government paying for the ordinary person to make sure that NHS, you have universal access of healthcare here. All of these things are things you should be thinking about as the state. Guided by your philosophy or your ideology. Maonero angu, philosophy and Sunday bata. And it's not only because of it's not only ZANU. Even when I look at our opposition, sometimes I don't see that philosophy or ideology. How do we intend to develop the country?
Yeah, you're right. Because when you look at the opposition, it seems as if the only philosophy they have is that let's remove these guys in power.
Yeah, but let's not get distracted, because petsarata kutanya dzakawanda panguva dzakawanda totanga wana macomments akawanda ngatidhilenya iyo yawatishedzera toenda sei. But my hope is that our politics one day will come to a point where we know what to expect of our government. So when you have a government that is inclined to social democracy, for example, they're more inclined to be the welfare kind of state. You look at models, Unana Scandinavia, Unana Germany, you look into that, you say, okay, this is what these people may actually design. So you expect those that you expect of a government, and you can put them to task. When you speak of capitalism, you look at the USA, and you look at it, USA a protection, a social safety net. It's means tested, because the American spirit is work for yourself. But Kanata's or not also go knock Shanda to Matangata test at all right, do not deserve a chi, Kubatsirwane Urumente. You have to prove. What punishment Wese Anungoa now, Nigazagadaro, the universal welfare, social welfare entity. So all of these things you can ask what but Amana Takuraska Gwara, Takawira not Shakat. So Guarairo Atina Zimbabwe right now. Gwara redu nderichero ari kutonga tinomunza gwara redu riaria wakurasika. So ndopapa patinodzokera kumubvunzo wandibvunza kuti mapolicies acho unoadvisa sei government kuti nai ngatifambe negwara rakadai mukasisite mapolisi akadai, because mapolisi maprogram ari kuinformwa kwatinoda kuenda patiri negwara redu. So uchatarisa ukano unpeka mapolicies edu enyika yeso kamaisa panzvimbo 1, so they don't point to the same ideological framework.
Thank you. I mean, thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you so much for inviting.
What would you want? What would be your last words to the opposition and to the president? Each How would you advise each of these people?
To the citizens of Zimbabwe, I am happy that we have started to claim our power outside political parties. I feel like this was not led by any political party. I hope we remain in that, because change is a painstaking process. It doesn't happen in one day, you know. And I hope we know that we're going to suffer a lot of setbacks, that we're going to watch some of us die. One of my greatest fears right now is hope, for example, the state has the capacity to do that. If we're not willing to act, if we're not willing to be participating in the issues of the country, and this is long term, this message, so it involves voting, it involves putting things to question, it involves even reading. When we talk about corruption, it's not just about saying to corruption. Let's understand what corruption is as a concept and deal against it as a people. Not corruption. Let's talk about those things, because whatever we encourage or whatever we do not deal with, very problem here. Let's have my values and principles that we have as a country. So if our values and principles are to put in the contestation of power, in any political party, we should see that this is what we're saying as a people. Not demand. Kanatava politically conscious. I think it's also important for us to move away from our culture. Our country has been takayanya with personality politics and strongman politics, where one day, but let me just say it. I don't feel that is the best representation of our politics. If I was an opposition or ruling party politician, I would want to start engendering and fostering that culture of pluralism of ideas, and even checking that support me. But hey, allow other people to bring their ideas, allow other people to contest, even if it means they're contesting me. Can I be superior in my programs? I'll still win, you know. So we need to move away from that culture of strongman politics where we just support. No, let's open the floor for debate. Let's open the floor for discussion. Let's help even for people to understand. Your constitution government.
When we have to shut down,
that's all right. Thank you so much for having me.